Hi, I'm Cherie Hawkins. I moved to Tauranga in 2006 after spending 17 years in London. My husband's English and he always knew I wanted to come home, but it was always really difficult because he was very close to his family and I was very close to my family. So we probably talked about it a lot. At different points, things would make you want to come home, you'd get homesick, and then everything would settle down and you'd feel good about everything again. And it wasn't that I fell out of love with London because I love it. It was just I felt drawn to come home to the spirit of New Zealand. I love the can-do attitude that Kiwis have, but I love the British sense of humour as well. So I've always felt as if I want my children to have the best of both worlds where they can have two homes but experience the sort of wildness and adventure that New Zealand has, but also be free to travel overseas when they want to. When the London bombings happened, I think that was a bit of a turning point for me because I was working right in the city and it was all happening, and obviously people died, which was a real tragedy. So I think at that point I sort of thought, well, you know, I didn't really want to leave London, but I had two small children and it was just the right time, I suppose, to come home. My parents, as I said before, my parents shifted down here from Auckland probably about 25 years ago now, I think. So every time we came home for a holiday, of course we were at Papamoa, all of the mounts. So that's a huge draw when you've had a London winter and then you come over for the summer. It's just absolutely stunning. So it didn't take a lot of guessing around where we wanted to settle. And just the people in Tauranga are very friendly, very supportive. It is very community spirited. So I love that those types of people who are just at one with the land and into that sort of hunting and fishing and the outdoor life. So we've been very lucky. For the kids, it's been absolutely awesome. They haven't had any of the worries and anxieties that my husband and I have had, which is what it should be all about. They started at Tauranga Primary. I remember the first week my daughter, she was 7 years old and they had an aquathon. And I saw this little girl running through and everyone giving her high fives, and she just thought it was absolutely brilliant. And she's always loved the beach here and in England. So they have had the most awesome life. They think going to the mount is just normal. That's what everyone does. They don't realise how lucky we are to be able to live down here, but I'm sure they will know that one day, certainly. Scott was only 4 at the time and Sophie was 7. She'd started school over there, so she had some good friends. The hardest part for them was leaving their grandparents. I think for them, you know, they were too young really for it to be quite the upheaval that it can sometimes feel like if they're a bit older. But they settled so well and they made such good friends very quickly, and people at the school were so lovely. They would come up to us and, you know, introduce themselves, and she's made some great friends, and she's at college now and she's still friends with a couple of the girls she met that first year. So no, it's been great for them. So if you're thinking of moving here with your family, we actually came out for a holiday before we shifted here. We went round all the different schools, we met the people, and there was a couple that really stood out for us, but we knew with Tauranga Primary, the way the kids' smiles, we could just see how awesome that school was. I think we really benefit in the Bay of Plenty because the quality of teachers here are outstanding. Because everyone wants to live here, we get the pick of the bunch really. So I think in that way we've been really lucky. Tauranga Primary, Tauranga Intermediate have got fantastic leadership. Mount College is the same. So they're very open. You can ask them lots of questions. Everyone sort of wants the best for their children down here, and I think what bonds people in Tauranga is we've all got the same values around we're doing it for our family. Most of us have worked and lived in big cities where it's sort of rush and you don't get to spend that quality time with your kids. So when you make that decision to come to these places, that's what it's all about, is having quality time with your family, and it's certainly been worth it.